Hi everyone. The advancement in the field of AI are continuously going on, and the latest tool which is taking the internet by storm is a open source repository available on GitHub by the name of Auto-GPT. Auto-GPT fundamentally leverages the OpenAI model and connects it with the internet. It takes a goal from the user and then performs the operations or search the internet using the OpenAI key or the LLM model until it succeeds in fulfilling the goal. In doing so, it creates some subtask, it takes a step, then learns, and then adopts accordingly, and then performs another task till the time it concludes or fulfills the goal provided by the user. And so there are a lot of practical applications of this tool in the coming days. But in this video, I have set up a new virtual machine on Azure. And so we'll go ahead and install this repository on that new virtual machine. And in the subsequent video, we'll explore it and see some of the use cases of this. Now, since I'm on a freshly installed virtual machine, I'll first show you that I do not have Git installed on this PC, and then we'll go ahead and install the required tools and then continue with the installation. So I'll go to command prompt, and in the command prompt, I'm going to type Git, and it tells me that the command is not recognized. So the first thing that I need to do is to go to Git and download it for Windows. Do next, next. Okay, so now I've installed Git. As you can see here, it is now being recognized. I'll go to the D directory, which is currently blank. I'll just go ahead and show you that it is a default directory which is currently empty. And the first thing that we want to do is now to start following the instruction which are provided in the installation of the GitHub page. So the first thing that I need to do is to clone the repository which is available online. We'll go ahead and clone the repository. I'm at the base folder. I'll just right click and clone the repository. As you can see, now the directory has been created. So I'll go ahead and go inside this particular directory. We'll go ahead and make sure that the required dependencies have been updated or installed, and I'll issue the command. Pip is not recognized, and that's because Python has not yet been installed. So now I'll go and install the Python. So we'll close this. We'll go to Python and we'll go ahead and install Python. Now on the installation page, you have to make sure that you check this box, add python.exe to the path base installation. As you can see, the pip is now being installed. It's done. Now pip has been installed, so we'll go ahead and run the command again. Now this is making sure that all the required dependencies are up to date. As you can see, Python has now been installed, and now it is time for us to go ahead and update the environment file. The environment file, as the name suggests, env.template, can be found into the directory where you've installed the repository. So I'm already into the particular directory, and I've already associated file with Notepad. Otherwise, you'll have to. This file will provide you most of the configuration keys which are being used here. For our purpose of this demonstration, there are three keys that we are going to leverage. One is the API key for OpenAI. This is the section where you will go ahead and update the OpenAI key. Now, before you provide the OpenAI key, I want to mention that since OpenAI costs you and there is a billing account that you must have already set to have access to these API key, I would strongly encourage you to go and provide a threshold onto the maximum usage that you would leverage. So over here, you can specify the usage limit. I am currently enrolled into OpenAI using my personal account, and so there is already hard cap of $120. For organization, this may vary. But if you are playing with repositories like Auto-GPT or others, there is a possibility that next morning you may come across a surprise of being charged heftily. So I have provided a soft limit of 25. This is where I'll be notified by an email. And at $30, I will not be charged any further. This is the maximum cap that I have provided just for the purpose of this demonstration and to make sure that I do not get charged heftily. So OpenAI key would be provided here. Then you'll go ahead and provide the key for 11 Labs. Now, one of the things I like to mention that if you are making use of 11 labs, not only you'll have to provide the 11 labs API key, you'll also have to provide the voice ID of any of the sample that you're using. So to find the 11 labs API, you'll have to go to the 11 labs site. Inside the profile section, you click it and you can be shown the API key. Now you'll have to copy this API key and then go to the documentation. Inside the resources, you'll find the documentation. Inside the documentation, you'll find this command of get all the voices, and over here you can actually provide your particular API key. So I'll say try it out. Provide the API key over here. It can be seen my results are executed and the response has been generated, and you can see that all the devices which are present in the system, Rachel, Domi, and all the others are available. So I'll have to scroll down at the very end, and at the very end I will find the voice that I have cloned. So over here, this is the voice ID that I want to leverage, and so I'll copy it and I'll have to provide it inside here as my voice ID. Third key that we'll be making use of is the Pinecone API key. So the Pinecone API can be grabbed from their side, and the idea of Pinecone is that it allows you to play with the memory vectors. So we'll go ahead and look at the API key by Pinecone. I've already created an API key by the name of Athena. As a side note, one of the other keys that you should be mindful for is this use web browser key, which is by default set to Chrome. And so if you are a newly installed virtual machine or a scenario like mine, you'll have to go and install Chrome, which I've already done for this episode. Okay, so now I have provided all the API keys inside the environment file. Now I need to update the file name. So for this, I'll go to view and I'll select file name extension, and I'll rename the file from .env.template to .env only and press save. And that's it. Now at this point, everything has been set up and the program can be executed. So I'll go to GitHub page and I can find this command through which we can execute the program. So we'll go ahead and type it up. However, since I want to leverage the 11 labs that I have already specified in the configuration or the environment file, I'll give it the switch of speak. Now once I'll press enter, you'll hear my clone voice, which is coming from this program using 11 labs.
Welcome to Auto-GPT. Enter the name of your AI and its role below. Entering nothing will load defaults.
I have provided the name of Athena, which by the way was the name of Greek goddess for wisdom.
Athena here, I'm at your service.
Now it is asking me to describe the role, and the role here is pretty simple, which is surf the internet and look for useful information. Now the program is asking me to provide up to 5 goals which the AI can conquer for me. For the purpose of demonstration, I'll go ahead and provide just one simple goal, which is look for Sitecore versus Sitefinity feature comparison and store for later use. Now for those who are not familiar, Sitecore and Sitefinity both are CMS, and this is a scenario that I'm just depicting where I want to compare the feature of both. There is no other goal that I want to provide for now, so I'll just press enter. Now the tool is making use of Chrome, which I earlier specified. It's thinking, and now it will come up with a plan to reach to the goal that I just provided.
I will search for a Sitecore versus Sitefinity feature comparison and save it for later use. I want to execute Google.
As you can see, it wants to execute Google, and it will provide this command Sitecore versus Sitefinity feature comparison. Either I can authorize this command by pressing yes, or I can also specify the number of times that I'm permitting the program to continue without asking for my approval. For now, we'll just go with while just to see the step-by-step evolution. Apparently, this is the result that it got in response to the Google search that it just made.
I will browse the websites that came up in the search results to find a reliable comparison between Sitecore and Sitefinity. I want to execute browse_website.
Now this is interesting. This is exactly how an assistant of mine or myself would perform if I want to decipher this task. So it has picked up the first URL or one of the URLs and it will go and access this site. Again, I'll authorize it. Now, as soon as I provide yes, it opens up a web browser, and which is where it is going to analyze the response which is coming. Now, this is a very beautiful example because in here it is also mimicking the expression of RPA.
I will use the browse_website command to examine the comparison between Sitecore and Sitefinity on Finances Online.
Now, this is where I'll go ahead and permit the program to execute up to 5 times without interrupting me.
I will use the write_to_file command to save the comparison between Sitecore and Sitefinity to a file for later use. I will use the do_nothing command to take a moment to review my progress and plan my next steps. I want to execute browse_website.
Now it is asking me for authorization, and that's where I'll just show you that based upon the execution which has happened so far, Sitecore versus Sitefinity comparison has already been listed over here.
I will use the search_files command to find the file containing the comparison between Sitecore and Sitefinity that I saved earlier. I want to execute search_files. I will use the read_file command to open the file containing the comparison between Sitecore and Sitefinity that I found earlier. I want to execute read_file. I will use the start_agent command to delegate the task of summarizing the comparison between Sitecore and Sitefinity to a GPT agent. I want to execute start_agent.
Sitecore versus Sitefinity summary agent here, reporting for duty. According to Finances Online, Sitecore and Sitefinity are both powerful content management systems. Overall, both Sitecore and Sitefinity are considered to be strong CMS options. But the choice between them will depend on the specific needs and resources of the organization.
I will use the write_to_file command to save the summary of the comparison between Sitecore and Sitefinity to a file for future reference. I want to execute write_to_file.
Now this program is in execution for quite some time, and there are a couple of things that I want to highlight during my interaction. The first thing that I want to highlight is that it has successfully saved a file which will contain the result of the comparison. So over here there is a Auto-GPT workspace folder inside the Auto-GPT folder, and within which you can find the comparison which it has created. There are multiple comparisons that the tool can create depending upon different searches that it will go through or different websites that it will go through. The second thing that I want to highlight that the tool is able to work around the limitations. So for example, if it performed a search in response to which the website was not accessible, the tool took a workaround and then went onto the internet to find the relevant details. I'll just highlight it over here. One of the sites that is tried to access did not contain the response that it was seeking. Answer gathered from website. The text does not provide information on the price option for Sitefinity. And then the next immediate step that the tool took was to go for Google and look for the particular comparison that it was looking in the previous search and was not able to find on the site. So I'll stop the execution here, and I just want to highlight before closure about the billing summary. Remember that we already specified the usage limits of $30 and $25 respectively. Now since I've been executing this program, if I go to the usage, we'll be able to see that how much dollar value we have already utilized in response to these searches. You can see that I've specified an upper cap of $30. I've already utilized $0.34 based upon the execution that I've already done. So tools like these in the future are going to play a very good role in terms of being our assistant or make us more productive. And I look forward to come back in the future videos with some more complex use cases. Thank you so much for being with me.